All right, what's up? Cries Hannah back again. So we wanted to talk about what the process was like, some of the things that we're using to record the Daydreamer EP. And so um, we also want to talk about what the difference is like between recording in 2003 and recording in 2020 and 21. So,
Take us back, man. Take us
yeah.
back to the very beginning. What was it like recording those first demo CDs? And I
Mm,
don't think we're that old to have tapes. I don't think we ever did a demo tape,
mm-mm.
but we definitely burned some CDs.
Oh, we
So
did. We even had secret tracks on that CD. Do you remember that?
yeah, bro. Yeah.
Sadly,
So
we
how
actually thought people would care enough about Downfront, the original Cries Hannah, to
yeah,
anyone that didn't know that,
yeah.
to listen 17 minutes in of silence to hear
Oh,
this
dude.
silent track of us talking.
Yes. That
Oh
is so
man.
metal. I love it. All right. So
Oh
since
boy.
since people care so much more now, describe for us the process of recording back then. What did we do
Mhm.
uh, all the way through Cleveland, Tennessee to compare to now? What was the process like? Lay it out for us, bro.
Yeah, so I think we had one, two, three. There's four times we recorded stuff, or at least at four different locations. One, Matt Boyd's church.
Yes.
All right. So Matt Boyd's church. What did we use? We used an 8-track recorder. We had to go rent. Do you remember that we rented uh mics, drum mics from Hayes Music, Popper Bluff, shout out. Do you remember
What
that?
up,
We
Hayes?
You had to rent drum mics from Hayes Music, and we may have even rented that. We may have
Oh,
even paid him a fee.
I know we definitely rented the recorder.
Was it like 150? I think it was like 150.
I don't know.
Dude, that was so much money back then.
Yeah,
And
dude.
so, dude, I didn't have a job. I think dude, you were working at like that suit store.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
man.
Boyd was at Walmart. We had no money, man. Listen,
Yeah.
we were broke. Uh,
Young, single,
dude,
broke.
dude, we were
In a
we were
band.
wearing baggy pants.
Oh, bro, yeah. We
Dude, it
we
was
were
so
we were
bad.
metal kids, and yes.
It was so bad.
So we rented the 8-track recorder, went
We
to the
rented the eight
basement.
track. Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
man. So, and first of all, we had no idea what we were doing with this 8-track recorder because it was like, what brand was that? Dude, we had no
Yeah,
idea.
we rented it. Then we have to figure out how to use it, like
It
all in
was
one sitting.
so bad. It was so bad. And so somehow we got whatever resembles like a demo in 2003 to a local band.
Oh yeah,
Um, and we had this like, how many songs was that? Like two,
maybe
three,
two or three.
and then a 17-minute silence before this talking track. It was so bad.
Was that
So
was
so
was that a moment when we would when we went to Walmart and you buy the 100
yes,
pack of CDs and you burn them all
yes.
in your home computer.
Oh man, so
Yes,
metal.
you hand those babies out at Hastings in the parking lot. That's what you
Ugh.
do with those.
With your phone number on it for some reason,
Oh yeah.
and it was so bad. It's embarrassing. I still have a few of those somewhere.
I got one or two. I'm not gonna lie, in a drawer somewhere.
And so that was exciting though. It was fun.
Oh yeah,
And
super
I
fun.
would say of all things, it's the most akin to what this last year has been like
Mm.
because it was working through, this naivety to of like what recording might be and what our idea of it is, and um, different because we just had more knowledge and more tools at our disposal. But it was
And
exciting. That was fun.
we had jobs too.
We had jobs, yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
yeah.
it helps.
So that was 2003. That was our first experience. Our next experience was probably what, 2004 to 2006. Because dude,
Yeah, I think
Jeff and Kelly.
yeah.
First of all, shout out to Corduroy Boy Studios.
Yes.
If it's still a thing, I don't know. But Jeff and Kelly, you
Yes.
guys rock, and you're amazing, and
Metal.
you had so much patience with us.
Yes.
Seriously, because we spent literal hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks in their studio
Mm.
for like $500. And like, I don't know how you had enough patience for some like 19-year-old kids. I like seriously don't have
dude,
I don't have an idea.
Those guys were so legit. Like they just like they helped us out so much. I mean, they just like
So much.
I feel like they taught us so much about guitars and amps
Mm-hmm.
and just
And the
everything.
business, really.
Yeah.
Just like how I remember they really were mentors to us, even if they didn't realize they were. Because
they probably just want to get rid of us.
yeah, they probably did. They were like, geez, I wish these kids would get this album done. And by the end of it, I think, dude, honestly, like we went in there for like a 5-song EP, and I think we ended up with like 11 songs that like, by the way, are still unreleased, because I think we only released like 3 or 4 of them, because in the process we went through like a name change and like a whole tonal change, because we were like seriously metal at first, and not a good way, by the way. and somehow we went post-hardcore during that process. And so wow, like they watched us kind of, I don't know, like break our shells and like rebuild ourselves during that period of time. Dennis Minner, shout out to Dennis,
What up, Denny?
because he helped fund that whole EP. So without him having some kind of like idea that these weird uncool kids from Poplar Bluff might have some like creativity that's worth recording. Without him, we don't make it to Corduroy Boy Studios in Hayti, Missouri. So if you're watching and you want to record somewhere, and they're still like doing their thing,
Yeah, I guess they are. I don't know.
I have no idea, but
you need to reach out to those guys.
We do. Jeff and Kelly are so legit. They're just genuinely nice dudes. But here's what it was like recording there. Okay. It was digital but analog. And so like you had to hit it on one take. There was no going back and editing, cutting things, splicing things. It was a one take performance. And so that put a lot of pressure on us. And so that was tough. That was not easy. And so we went through a lot of growing pains, and they made us much better musicians than what we were prepared to be. Okay. So dude, I remember your guitar takes. I remember because we would drive there together, because you were living with me at the time, and we would spend just hours there going through a song. I don't know if you remember all of that, but
I remember, bro.
I mean, it was at the
I
time. I
think I remember falling asleep on the floor. I don't know.
I remember getting a speeding ticket on the way home one night.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of waffles. Dude, what was that waffle place?
I don't know.
Man, Skinny's. Was it Skinny's Diner? Yeah,
maybe in Kennett.
Yeah. Dude, I remember a lot of chocolate chip waffles.
I remember nearly dying. I thought I was going to die. I got sick and threw up in the back seat. Yeah, for just some random sickness.
That was when Drew, for the 5 minutes he was in the band, was going with us to do vocals that night. I don't know if you remember that.
I think I do, yeah.
Drew James, Relentless Video, Relentless Media Production.
A dog.
and all this other stuff. He's way too big for us to talk about. So, um, but yeah, so that experience was very like probably how we. I think that's it was in a house, but I think the experience of recording was what I probably expected recording to be like, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Where it was like, you get one take, you better hit it. If you don't, we're erasing and we're starting over.
Kind of grueling.
Yeah, it forced us to have to know what we were doing before we got there.
Mm.
Okay, so that's a cool part about it. That at the time was frustrating, but you look back and you appreciate. So we move forward. So we sign with Crash Music. Shout out Crash Music.
What's up?
And Crash sends us. They give us an opportunity to go wherever we would like. We end up in this random place in El Paso, Texas, and we meet As Cities Burn. Shout out As Cities Burn.
What's
And so,
up, ACB?
so we meet As Cities Burn, and they tell us about this studio in Cleveland, Tennessee, where they recorded The Widow, I think.
Hmm.
And so they were friends with this dude. And so Tyler Orr. And so we reached out and we set up a date, and we just drove our van to Cleveland, Tennessee, and we spent a week there in Cleveland. And that experience was more like what in my head, like a legitimate band would probably have, where because he had a cool setup where you lived up top the studio, and below was the studio, and he had an actual place where you do vocals. He had an isolation room for the guitar cabinets. He had a drum room, and then he had his whole soundboard, and that was an incredible experience. It felt like, whoa, this is what it's really like.
Hmm.
Um, and so I really remember having a lot of fun there.
Hmm.
Um, and
There's
it
there's
was. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's video of that place on the
Yeah,
DVD, that Relentless DVD or whatever.
yeah.
I think of us like playing sock ball up there too, and I don't know, just doing goofy stuff, recording things. But I don't know. Is there any copies of that still floating around? Anybody wants to see what it looks like?
I've got a copy, and it's on those Relentless. So if you go to the Relentless Media Productions YouTube, they've got a couple of our, like, what is it? Romance is Dead, and there's another song that they have that they did like a live video for us, where you'll see some of that stuff. And so we had a lot of fun there, man. And that experience, it was just it was just different. Like, it was one where we didn't have to hit first takes. Like, there was editing involved, and so we came in ready, for first takes. But there was one song that we really had. There are actually two songs on that album. One we didn't even have written when we went in. Do you remember what it is?
I remember that instrumental musical thing.
Yes,
That
Something to Remember You By. Yeah,
yeah, that
we. So I don't want to get into like the details of what that's about because we don't really have time for that. But like, that was just an idea. And I remember Josh jumping on the piano because I wanted a piano on it. Like, I remember just thinking, I need you to do a piano. Do you have anything? And he started just playing something. It happened. It was very organic. That shouldn't have been on the record, but it was. And it was just kind of cool. That's kind of a cool thing about Tyler's studio. And
mm,
First Street Studios, I think, is what it was called.
yeah.
Um, but the other one was The Wedding. We really hadn't written much about that. Like, I think we had like a framework and some
Mm.
vocals, but every other song we'd practiced and we really had down. But The Wedding, we did not. That one was very much a studio song, which you sang on.
So,
And so, anyway, that was a pretty cool experience, and kind of made us feel like, this feels like probably what a real band
Well, yeah, I mean,
would
like,
go through.
yeah, I don't know. We had some of our friends row through too, like, like
Yes.
PFAL and Within.
Planning
They
fallacy.
they were like they were rolling through, and so I don't know. It felt very like real band, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like rock and roll.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, because I remember that we went with them because there was a couple shows we went to around the area. One in Chattanooga, I think.
yeah.
Um, I don't even remember who it was that played. It was a band that was in our scene. But I remember, dude, I remember walking the streets with PFAL that while we were there and just hanging out with it. Like they're such cool dudes. I miss those dudes. But and I still, dude, Jesse, your voice is ridiculous. I still listen. I still listen. I listened just last week to your record. Did PFAL? If you're not listening to Planning Fallacy, something's wrong with you. They are
Agreed.
so good. They are so good. Um, the whole record can be found on YouTube. So go just search the Planning Fallacy. You're gonna find that whole like little EP, and it is incredible. Anyway, so we I remember we had a show at Rogers Theater in Poplar Bluff. The moment we got back, we rolled in from the studio and had that show at Rogers Theater. I don't know if you recall that, but I remember that just being like a cool experience.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's the Beloved I Caught You When You Fell record and what that recording was like. Then we get up to Kansas City. We of course over on the road we had the opportunity and just the privilege to be able to meet and play with um, uh, Flee the Scene. We got to meet Aaron, who was the drummer from Flee the Scene, and he's such a cool dude. And he
Drummer.
introduced us, dude. He's an incredible drummer. Like he's unbelievable. Um, he introduced us to bedroom recording. It is what you really. Looking back, uh, he showed me that this could be done at home, with a computer and with the right ears, and so this was 2007. And so I remember us going, and we actually had intentions. And so there's something to mention here. Like we actually meant to record 3 songs because we had 3 songs written for that little EP, and we had a whole like theme for Hopeless the Writer, Gracious the Poet. But we only had enough finances
What?
for
Oh,
2.
okay, so that's what it was. We didn't have any money.
Yes.
Yet
So like
again.
money.
Yeah.
So the third song, in my opinion, was the best song, but it was also the one that it felt like would be the one that would be most difficult for someone to want to listen to that would catch their ear. Like they'd want to listen to the whole song to get it. And I know that you and I have talked about this, like we're trying to figure out what that song was because I have zero idea what the
Dude, I
lyrics
think
are.
I've got it. I really think I remember it. Like I know I mentioned it to you, but I'm pretty sure. So
So,
anybody
so
listening, keep an eye out for that. I think we're gonna try and
we'll see if we can
dig that one
rework.
up.
But man, that experience was fun because dude, it felt like there was so little pressure.
Hmm.
At Tyler's studio, there felt like there was so much pressure. We only had 7 days and we were out of money.
Hmm.
And we literally used the last minutes. At Aaron's, it just felt so free to me. I remember that. I remember just thinking, man, this just feels relaxed because he was just like his free spirit and just his attitude just encouraged creativity to me.
Hmm.
And so, and also, I looked up to Aaron very much so,
Hmm.
and I looked up to Flee the Scene, um, and I appreciated that because, dude, we played shows, dude, where it was just Flee the Scene watching us. Like
Yeah.
I remember
Go ahead.
mad respect because, dude, like they didn't owe us a thing. We meant nothing to them, nothing.
Hmm.
And I remember being in Dallas, Texas. All right, dude, Dallas, Texas, and no, like we're the opening act. Doors haven't even opened, is what it feels like, because there is nobody there but Flee the Scene right in front of us. And we played a show for Flee the Scene. And like just the humility and the respect that they showed, like it's just unprecedented.
Was that the night, did they play when we were on tour with Of Sound and Fury? Did they play that night that we got like we got paid like $5 to split between like 3 bands or something? Were they there?
So. I think so. I think that's right.
That was somewhere in Texas, but yeah, that's a good picture of our finances at the time. $5 to split between 2 or 3 bands.
Hence why we weren't too excited to jump back on the road anytime soon. But yeah, no, man, like, so I really looked up to them, and just wanted to do my best to honor the time that we had there. Yeah, we were paying for it, but at the same time, it also felt a little bit like he wanted to help us out. And so, it was affordable, and he made it easy to just explore things.
Yeah, and so I guess, I don't know, I guess it's let folks know too that so like at that time, that was after Matt Boyd's departure. Yeah. And so Aaron actually, he played drums on those songs. And so like those 2 recordings, if you ever find them and listen to them or whatever, that's Aaron from Flee the Scene playing the drums. He just like learned the songs right then, and
that, I mean, he learned them so fast. Like I was just like, man, so tight. So anyway, huge shout out to Flee the Scene and Aaron. So that was that. So then we get to today.
Yeah. So switch. Switch now. What is the process like now, and what are we using? How are we recording music now?
Yeah. So not a single tube or any sort of analog amplifier has been used on our record. Not one. Every tone that you'll hear is either from ML Sound Labs, which I know, Trey, you've been using the Super Duper, which is modeled after the Dover.
Super Duper.
Which the Dover and the Super Duper, like Miko from ML Sound Labs, just, I mean, what he's done with his plugins are incredible. We're also using a lot of like a lot of the tones you'll hear are the Gojira plugins, or plugin, or the Soldano plugin from Neural DSP, and then all of the cabs are from Bogren Digital, and so those are, I've mixed and I'm ultimately probably using like 12 cabs total. Like it's crazy what I'm doing in there. Drums, Get Good drums. I mean, you can't go wrong with Get Good drums. That's what you're hearing there. And then Mammoth, the Mammoth plugin from and Solemn Tones. So Solemn Tones is the bass plugin, but I'm actually using the DI, okay, with that plugin, and then using the Mammoth plugin to be able to get that gnarly, like nasty bass. So so those are sort of like, that's what we're using. Of course, we're using our guitars and things of that nature. But the process has been, you or I will write something. We'll send it to each other, and then we'll kind of feed off of that and send it back. So it's just a lot of emailing back and forth. We have this thing that we've said, and it's kind of this funny, like, I don't know, slogan, or like this thing that's really caught wind with both of us. Like most of our work, including we're going to include this little video series. Everything it happens between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. and that is legitimately when it happens. So like, because during our day,
11:27 p.m. right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, because we do still have our day-to-day lives, and so with that, there's work, there's taking care of the kids, there's spending time with our wives. Family time is very important to both of us. Um, and so when everybody's asleep, when there's nothing else going on, it's, hey, maybe I have time to write a riff, or I have this thing I've had in my head like literally 2 days, and I have to get it out. It's using our phones to sing a like a terrible MIDI of what we're hearing in our head, so that when we have time, we can plug in our guitar and jam and try and recreate what we're hearing in our head. And so that's what a lot of it's been. It's been that back and forth, that bouncing back and forth, feeding off of each other. Something that's worked just tremendously that I don't think either one of us expected was writing out like a drum MIDI file for a song, sort of like the skeletons to a song, just like a cool beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then sending that to you and seeing what you come up with, you sending it back. And then we write like, hey, I break down here, or, I hear this here, like an ambient thing here. And then like adding to, and like there's this real big like push, pull, give and take sort of thing during the recording process. So that's been it, man. Like it's been a year, and here we are with finally the release of the first EP, and hopefully soon after the second EP.
Yeah. So that's kind of an overview of what recording was like for us then and what it's like now. Would you say it's easier now?
It is way easier because we're not paying money. there's no cost for studio time here. So
we can afford to be patient and take our time.
yeah. And one last thing about the recording process is we've had the opportunity. So there's a couple songs that I can think of off the top of my head. One is Lighthouse, and another one's a song that I don't want to name yet because it's on the next record. But those songs would have been completely scrapped years ago. Completely scrapped because the idea was cool, but it didn't translate. But having the luxury of being like having it in front of me and being able to cut, splice, chop, and make things work, and then say, hey, instead of that part, what if we try that? If we didn't have that, those songs would be gone. So the creativity that digital recording and home recording has offered us is a huge reason that we're able to share some of these songs. Because even Dyatlov, if we look at Dyatlov Passenger, that song was written a certain way, but there's things in there like the ending was not there in the original song. It was taking chunks of certain other parts that we liked and manipulating it and twisting it and adding different like effects or plugins, and it just made the end pop. You know what I mean? In my opinion, like that, it ended up being this thing we're really proud of. We felt like it was pretty good before, and then it became what it is now because we had the opportunity to like sit on it, listen to it like over and over and over again when we had opportunity, and say, you know what, I think we should add this, or I think we should try that. You don't get that if you go to the studio and sit. Now you maybe if you have a legitimate producer, they hear those things and they add those things, or they tell you to record it a different way or play it a different way. But we're doing this all DIY. So trying to save as much money as we can because we just don't have a lot of money to spend on it. But we're definitely loving it. We're enjoying it, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. So that's the process. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.